guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing a very requested video and showing you guys how I study for my HESIs. I do want to preface this video by first of all saying, if you don't know me, my name is Ashley Taylor. This is my YouTube channel. I do a lot of nursing content. I am in my last quarter of nursing school. I am in a 21-month accelerated BSN program. I get a lot of questions on that, so I thought this would be a good video to just like address that and make sure you guys know and are aware. I also want you guys to know that even with all my study methods, I still have not passed, I think, about 3 or 4 of my HESIs in the last 7 quarters. We usually have 1 to 2 every single quarter, minus quarter 3, we didn't have one. Even though this is my go-to study technique, there still have been times where even with all I've done, I still haven't passed. So I just want you guys to know that. I have 7 quarters, like I just said, and I only started utilizing this study method in quarter 4 because I didn't have this book before then. I get my books from Chegg and from previous students that I am friends with because it was just too expensive in the tuition. So I took that part out and I've rented them, and it saved me a buttload of money. So I think some of the girls in my cohort that have got their books, that was weird, have got their books through the school. I think they've had this, but the first time we had a teacher assign anything out of it is from quarter 4, which was my mental health teacher, and that was the first quarter we actually did a lot of things with it. And then quarter 4, 5, 6, and now 7, I have been using it, and I really do like it. My school also, we do HESIs, and I get a lot of questions about the T's and the ATIs. I don't know what those are because we only have done HESIs, but hopefully that some of the stuff is a little bit similar, even if the books are the same, just different names. I'm not really sure. I also want to preface this by saying what works for me might not work for you guys, or might work for some of you, or some things you might be able to take away and some things you might not be able to utilize. But I just don't want to be responsible if you guys rely solely on the methods I'm sharing that I use just because they're successful for me. If they end up not working out for you, I don't want you guys to like resent me for that, because I really have gone through it. There's so many different methods throughout my quarters, and you guys can go through all my videos. I really, in a lot of my week in the lives, and even like I think a day in the life of my IV lab, like there's videos where I show y'all how I study for those specific classes. I have a how I studied for pharmacology and med surg video. So definitely go through and actually watch those videos, because there are sections where for those classes I'm in that quarter, I really do try to go in depth on how I'm studying and kind of show you guys my setup and stuff like that. This is going to be way too long of a video if I add all of my quarters up into one. So I'm just gonna share with you guys how I've been studying for my HESIs, and then some extra guides that I have actually purchased that I think are so worth the money because they have really made a huge difference in my studying over the last few quarters. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So the biggest thing that I have utilized, like I said, starting in quarter 4, is this HESI NCLEX RN examination booklet. You get an access code inside and you register on Evolve. Pretty sure as nursing students, we all go through Evolve or some kind of website like it. Wow, you like studying for nursing, Sven? I got the hard paperback copy, which you really don't need if you don't like really need to read and highlight and stuff like that. He is so clingy, it's unreal. But I chose to because, especially with things I struggle with like med surg and pharmacology and things like that, it really helps me to go through and read. And I really like the way this highlights a lot of important things, and then it gives you questions after each chapter that you can answer, and then you have a question or an answer bank in the back of the book, so you can grade yourself basically. But I will show you guys. The biggest thing I use this hardback copy for is my med surg stuff. I will just go through and highlight important things that I find useful, or that I think align with a lot of practice questions and stuff, or exams and questions that I've had before. And I will go ahead and just highlight everything. I don't even know if you can see the highlighter, it's yellow, sorry. But I do find that helpful. I would answer these questions. So this one is the respiratory system, so you just do a review. It has 13 questions on my own from what I could retain from the chapter after reading it. I would answer these in my best ability, and then when I was done, I would go to the back and grade myself. If I got anything wrong, I would write it out and then write out why I got it wrong, kind of rationalize. Like a lot of questions give you the rationale. I would do that on my own with this. And then I really love doing this on my computer. So I think maybe while I describe this to you guys, I will do a screen recording, because I really do think a lot of nursing is teaching yourself how to answer the questions. Like, I don't know if you guys have realized, but a lot of people, like nurses now that have like resources and their own study guides to give to students now to help you guys, a lot of them go by the fact that like it's all about how to answer the questions. And I wish I would have gotten that information earlier in nursing school, because especially health assessment is a very easy class. You just read the information they give you and understand it, and then you take the exam, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Same with patho. But like fundamentals, or what's the other name for it? Foundations of nursing or whatever, they're the same class. I think they just, some schools call them different names. But that is a very critical thinking class, and I think that would have been a prime quarter for that teacher to have taught us how to really start understanding how to answer questions in like for nursing. Like obviously in that class we had already known how to use add, pi, follow, or ABCs, but sometimes that doesn't get you through to a question. And I think that just would have been I mean, that teacher isn't a teacher anymore for a reason, but I do really wish she had utilized her ability to teach us a little bit more on how to narrow down answers, how to, you know, stuff like that. Because that's really a lot of what nursing is. Like obviously by the end of a quarter, you know that information. It just comes down to answering it in the questions, you know? So it can be really tricky. Okay, so I will figure out how to screen record on my laptop, and hopefully I can show you that way. Just in case, when I'm done, I will go through on my camera and film kind of what I'm talking about, but I am gonna be looking this way because I do find it helpful to look at my Evolve as I'm explaining it. But as I said, this comes with a code that you can register with under your Evolve. If your teachers assign this to you, they will usually have you register under their code name as well. I have one where I am signing up with a teacher, and then I have one where I don't, and I use both and it's fine. But you go in and then you go down to student practice questions, and then it brings up like the home screen, which is just like the cover of this. And then it gives you two sides, which is a study mode and an exam mode. The exam mode, you basically take it as an exam. You don't get to see your answers until you finish all 125 questions. And also I do find that doing more questions in a session is a lot more helpful. As nursing school started, we were doing about 50 to 60 a week, and then throughout that it became like 100 to 125. I find the more questions I do, the better I do. So I really do like the exam mode, but that is like what I do when I'm like confident and I'm like, okay, let's actually quiz ourselves. Study mode is my go-to study thing, obviously. So you get to go and you click, so you say begin study session, and then it says choose from one of 8 content areas. In study mode, you will randomly step through all questions of the content of the area you choose. So there's a comprehensive exam A and B, which is what I've been doing and find the most helpful, as like this is a quarter where we have 2 cumulative exit HESIs, and then we do have a med surg and a pharmacology. So obviously right now I've been studying a lot of my core content, and then towards the end of the quarter I will be focusing a lot of my time on specifically med surg and specifically pharmacology for those 2 exams, since that's what they're about. But you can pick fundamentals, maternity, med surg, peds, pharmacology, psychiatric, and then the 2 comprehensive ones. And then you just kind of click on one, like I'll do maternity, and you click begin study session, and then on the left side of the screen, it will, so at the top of the screen, it'll give you the question, and then it will give you the options in the left corner of the screen. And so you can pick one, and let's say you get it wrong, it gives you a rationale. So my tip for you guys is to write that rationale down. I swear this is one thing on here, like when I go through the pharmacology one, has really helped me remember such random medications that we didn't even go over in pharm or other quarters, because I would get it wrong and I'd be like, what the heck is this medication? I'd write the rationale down even a couple times if I needed to, and then all of a sudden I would add like a new medication to this big brain of mine. That was so embarrassing. And it's crazy because in HESI, you don't always get medications that you were taught. Like there's a lot of times where a lot of us have been like, did you guys even remember learning that? And we were like, no, what the heck was that medication? And sometimes going through questions like this will help bring more random weird medications to your knowledge, if that makes sense. So it'll give you the rationale, write that down, and then you can go next, and then you can go back, and then let's say you do the right answer, it'll give you the rationale again, and then you can move on, just so you know the right one, and you click it. I just feel like it embeds it into your brain when you actually go back and make sure you're getting the right answer, not just like moving on once you get the wrong one and know that it was wrong. So yeah, that's what I like to do. I really like to go through those. I know 125 questions is a lot, but if you're doing them 2 to 3 times a week, it's really not that bad. Space them out, maybe, you know, do like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays your questions, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, kind of split it up or something. I find that easy that way. Like if you're doing them every single day, it really does get tedious and you burn out so fast. And then another resource through Evolve that we are assigned that I really like to use. So they give us the HESI case studies with practice test versions. And I have like 100 on here. I have it signed up with a ton, but I just do the education affiliates one, which I feel like you just get as a student. I don't ever remember signing up for it. And our teachers usually in the last few quarters at the end have given us these practice exams and quizzes to turn in. They're usually about 100 questions. Answer those, and I will literally do it until I get a 100%. I don't even have to question myself on an answer. And again, that really helps, and then I feel confident. And there's actually been a couple HESIs where I do this and some of those questions, maybe even worded a tiny bit different, are on my HESIs. So they're like, I know in my OB one, on my OB HESI, I had like 2 to 3 questions that were on these practice ones that our teachers assigned us. So make sure you're definitely utilizing the stuff your teachers are giving you, because they are giving it to you for a reason. So those are my favorite HESI things to study with. And then I also last quarter bought the Saunders book. Again, I got the hard copy. I have spent so much time in this one that I really haven't got to utilize this one, the like paperback of it at least yet. Huge book, goes over everything. It's crazy. We register it on here on Evolve again with our teacher this quarter, and I've explained it in my last Sunday Productive vlog what we're doing, but our teacher basically has assigned us modules. We have 2 each week, and we do 100 questions for each one, and we get like 2.5 hours, I think, or something like that. So we go on and do that. Again, all of those practice questions are so helpful, especially at the end. You get to go through all 100 and see what you got right or wrong. And what I get wrong on those, I write down, whether it's on a sticky note or on my stickies on my laptop. I will type or write down the things I got wrong and what I'm struggling with, and then I will utilize these other methods that I will share with you guys as well. Or I can run through one of these books, whatever I do. I did keep my med-surg and my pharmacology and my drug guide stuff, because I know that those are like med-surg and pharmacology are like the most tested things ever. Like I will have a few pages, a few of this, a few of that, but it always comes down to med-surg and pharmacology stuff. So I will go through whatever book I want to use at the time and find the things I struggled with on those modules, and then I will kind of go through them, study them, read them, make a note card if I have to. Or let's say I got a question wrong because I couldn't remember that lab value. There's a lab value in it, and I couldn't remember the lab value range. I will go through my note cards, which I'll show you here in a second, and I will study my lab values and stuff like that. So that's basically all I do for practice questions. I know it's a lot, you guys. I'm so sorry. And then I do have a note card list of all of my labs. My labs are something that I will study my butt off and I will remember them, and then after a couple weeks I'm like, what is that? What is that high range again? Like I get like a lot of the basic ones, but there are some where I'm like, I don't remember. So I always have, and I recommend this too, just making some note cards of all your lab values. I even have like my burns on here. Yeah, the burns, rule of nines, because I forget that. And then I also have note cards of some medication things that, like the acetaminophen, therapeutic range, carbamazepine, all of that. And then that way you know, like if you get like a pharmacology or med-surg question and they give you like a toxicity question, knowing a lot of these main therapeutic levels will help you understand if it's below the therapeutic level or if it's reaching to a point where it could be considered toxicity. So I find that helpful. I think I also have toxicity levels in one of my note cards, maybe in my med-surg one still. But yeah, I have just all of my BUN, my creatinine, my albumins, all of that stuff on here. And I study those a lot, and I do find that that's helpful because there's so many questions that will randomly come up. And then I also, because med-surg is such a dense thing, I have this huge stack of note cards from my med-surg 1 and 2 HESI that I took in December that I have just kept around because I have so much stuff in here. If I'm like getting lost on something, like let's say I don't remember right-sided heart failure and the signs and symptoms and all of that stuff, I can just go through these a few times and it just kind of helps freshen up some information in my brain, which I think is so nice because you learn med-surg and then you go through all these other courses, and I feel like it's so easy to forget just like small, simple things or get things mixed up or twisted around and stuff like that. So I do think it's nice to keep med-surg and pharmacology stuff always at hand. That's why I kept all of my books and got rid of the rest, or rented the rest. And then there are 2 study guides that I did purchase on my own, and I love them. I find them so helpful. I use them throughout the last few quarters. And again, I'm saying, even with using these, I still did not pass a couple HESIs, but I still find them very helpful. And even now, I feel like I'm starting to get a hold of some things. So I'll go over the pharmacology one. So I did buy this pharmacology study guide. I've showed you guys this before. It's by Barbara O. She's your nursing educator on Instagram. She is such a boss. I love everything and the way she teaches things, and her booklets are so well done. And this is like an old PowerPoint from my teacher from last quarter that I just keep around because he really just covers short basic parts of everything. But basically, I don't know if you guys can see this mess, but I did get it binded and laminated so that I could take care of it because I really bring this everywhere with me. But I will take this, read through it, I will write through it. I have a little small notebook or whiteboard that you can get from Target with some expo markers, and I will just like write down stuff as I go, or I'll write it in a notebook. And I find that really helpful because I feel like with pharmacology, there's so much information that I really struggle with note cards and my like drug cards. I just did not find that helpful. So I was really glad that I found this. And if you take this and you go through the sections of medications, and on YouTube, it's Simple Nursing, and the way he covers their graphics, the colors, just the way they use their videos, and the little tricks and little things that they teach you throughout their videos are so helpful. Like a lot of the things I've added in here are all like helpful little tips and tricks from them, like opioids, O's, think low and slow. Like I literally remember that because of his video. And so I do find that really helpful. And then obviously it's tabbed like a psychopath because I tab a lot of medications I struggle with the most. So I do love this. I recommend it. I think it is one of the best things I've put money towards all of nursing school so far. And then recently I did just buy this one. I think I bought it like a couple months ago. I think maybe going into my quarter 6 actually, because I knew that quarter 6 was wrapping us up to get to quarter 7 where it's a lot of final stuff and then going into the NCLEX. But this is again Barbara O's Pass the NCLEX study guide. This is one of my favorite things to utilize when I need to go back. On my modules, like I said, if I'm struggling on something or whatnot, I will go through this because the way she has it, like the table of contents gives you all the pages you need, and the way she has it laid out is just so nice. And she also has, I don't want to give it away because I don't want to like disrespect her, so I'm not going to show you guys too much of it. But like for shingles, it tells you what shingles is, the signs and symptoms, and then she gives you priorities to look out for. So like for this one, priority, the patient should be on contact precautions. That's going to be a huge thing that the exam's looking for. The exam's looking for the safest answers you can choose. They're wanting to know that the nurse they're putting into the field is going to make the safest decisions for the patient. So she really does go through and do that. And then she does throughout the quarters have like small things where like medications and stuff come in, which is really helpful. Like she goes over an endocrine, like all of the different types of insulins and all of that stuff. It's so helpful. And last quarter I took this, and during my teacher's lectures where he was going over everything, I would add extra stuff because he's also a very wise person. So I would just add anything that wasn't in here already that he would say that I found helpful to remembering or understanding things, and I would write it down with her stuff. Again, so helpful. These are some of the best money spent things. I'm not even kidding you guys. So if I do want to recommend you guys go buy anything on your own time that's outside of your nursing school stuff, it's these 2 things. I really find them helpful, like so helpful. But yeah, other than that, throughout the quarters, I really did, you know, a lot. I had to mess around a lot with studying. Quarter 1, it was very dense in note cards. Quarter 2, I read like a freaking psychopath, and I had headaches every single day, and I cried every single day. It was a mess. Quarter 3, again, I had so much reading. She did give us study guides and key points to go off of, which I really did highlight and read a lot. So I did so much reading that quarter. Quarter 4, I went back to note cards. Quarter 5, I utilized note cards and a whiteboard, and I would go back and forth because every other exam, it seemed like one way would work, but the other way wouldn't. So went back and forth with that. Quarter 6, I was a hot mess. Don't even ask how I figured out how studying, it took me till like the last exam to kind of figure out how to understand my community health teachers exams, even though that HESI was the easiest one we took all year, and I don't know how her exams were based off of anything else. Like, makes no sense. And then obviously I did not pass my pharmacology or my dosage calc HESIs last quarter. And then this quarter I have 2 exit HESIs, which I'm pretty sure are on a ton of stuff, even though I know they're gonna be a lot of med-surg and pharmacology dentist questions. So, like I said, take everything I have just showed you guys with a grain of salt. Again, it really comes down to finding out what's going to be best for you with your learning strategies and how you utilize your information that you are being taught and literally what works for you. Like, I just don't want you guys to rely specifically on the things I've showed you and then like get mad at me or something if it doesn't work out for you, because I'm trying to tell you, it's just, nursing school is such a hard range of topics and the questions can be so tricky, and it really just, I'm not kidding you, comes down to what works best for you. And it's such a trial and error thing. Every single quarter, my first 3 exams, 2 to 3 exams, I would be spending trying to figure out how I'm gonna study for this class. How is this teacher doing this? How is this teacher teaching this? What is she taking and giving to me? Stuff like that. So I just wanted to say that because I really don't want you guys to be disappointed. But I really do hope you guys can take some things away. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am wishing and sending so much love and luck to everyone who has to take HESIs in the next few weeks, or your NCLEX, or whatever it may be. I love you guys. Good luck on everything. I am so grateful for y'all, and I hope that you guys do really well and can take some things away from this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.